I supposed to save money if I'm living paycheck to paycheck? Thank you so much for this comment. I really appreciate your openness. My name is Gaby Rincon. I'm a money coach and financial strategist. I specialize in working with the first-gen BIPOC community and empowering them to live money stress-free. Now, first off, I do have to give a bit of a disclaimer because there is such thing as a livable wage and an unlivable wage, right? We cannot budget our way into a livable wage. So for that proportion of our community, of the population, that their income just does not support the current life needs, then there's no way around that. And I want to acknowledge that first. But for most of my clients, for most of my community, I will say that all of them, to be honest, have been living paycheck to paycheck, and they are at a salary that in theory should allow us room to save, room to accumulate wealth. So the next part of the video will pretty much be directed at that idea. The people who, in theory, I should be able to save, but like, why is it not happening? Like, what do? I just feel like I run out of money, okay? As always, we're gonna break it all the way down. We're gonna bring all the way back out, zoom out, okay? So the amount of money that we're able to save is essentially the difference between our income and our expenses, right? So when we're able to widen that gap, widen that difference, we're able to save and thus accumulate more. This is where sayings like live below your means come from, because when we do live below our means, we're able to, again, accumulate more wealth because we're saving more. So when clients come to me and they're like, I just feel like I live paycheck to paycheck, like I don't know how to break this cycle, this is what we do. We'll map everything out, every single thing, right? In terms of debt, in terms of income, in terms of expenses, etc. And more often than not, what we find is that the amount of debt we're carrying, especially consumer debt that we're carrying, is where our hypothetical savings amount is going, because we're having to allocate so much towards credit card payments, for example. So then we're like, all right, so we've identified kind of the target area. What do we do? And then we kind of have to decide, all right, so are we going to attack it from the side of the income, meaning are we going to increase our income, or are we going to attack it from the side of our expenses? Are we going to decrease our expenses? More often than not, it ends up being some kind of a mixture of both. We'll come up with a plan. Okay, what is realistic? What is sustainable for you? What is not going to completely burn you out, exhaust you, or subscribe to toxic work hustle culture? Are you able to either ask for a raise, or are you able to maybe engage in a little bit of a side hustle that's low grade, not going to cost you too much stress, or maybe 1 to 2 hours of overtime a week? What is realistic for you? What can you manage without adding too much to your plate? And on the other side, what are we willing to forego for now while we prioritize the debt payoff in this situation? That could look as simple as all right, I am going to bring my lunch to work 2 times a week. Again, I know that this seems simple, but I've seen it work, because oftentimes the simple action is what creates astronomical results, because the easier action to do is what we're able to repeat a little bit more often. When we repeat it a little bit more often, and then again, we compound on that habit, right? On that action. And then that's what creates the big result. And then we'll celebrate every single win. Even if it's oh my God, you worked an extra 1 hour of overtime, and so you made an extra $50 payment to your credit card. That's huge. That's awesome. What you're saying to yourself is, I'm actively getting out of this debt so I can actively start saving and actively start accumulating wealth. Or, oh my God, you made an extra $40 savings transfer and we left it in there. We now have $200 in our savings account. We've never had that before. That's amazing. I'm so proud. I'm so excited. The celebration of these little moments, these little seemingly insignificant moments, that is the inspiration that can take us to the next part. It is an essential step. And then kind of that third piece that really is important that we talk about over and over again is that the most important part for you to remember is patience. It's time. It's the fact that, okay, I just know that I have to repeat this action. I'll repeat it again and again and again. And the important thing is that repetition. And as long as I repeat for X amount of months, years, whatever it might be, I will meet this goal. And the last thought that I'll leave you with is, when you're working on getting your finances in order, or when you want to finally break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, I want you to remember the power of how. When you come into a problem and you ask yourself, how can I solve this? How can I break this cycle? You'll instantly start to think of ways to do that. Oftentimes when clients first come to me, we don't want to hear how anymore. We don't want, it's like we're just kind of so shut down. It's like, it's never going to happen. I give up forever. But when we start to open our mind a little bit to the possibility, to the idea of accomplishing this, to again, the how, and mapping out some way, somehow to actually achieve that, we're able to see like, oh, I could do this. Or what if I tried this? Or what if I tried this? I hope this helps. For an in-depth look at your financial situation, maybe some strategies that we can use to help you break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, please book a consultation. I'd love to work with you.